Today, we're talking about this guy, the Sony OSS 24-105 f4 lens. This is my favorite lens in my entire collection. Today, I'm going to tell you guys why. First thing I want to talk about with this lens that's obviously the biggest benefit of it is its versatility. Being able to shoot everywhere from wide at 24 millimeters to telephoto at 105 millimeters and have all of your portrait focal lengths covered in between there really gives you the perfect all-around lens to leave the house, leave the hotel, leave the apartment with just one lens and be able to capture everything that you want. Now the caveat of that is it's an all-rounder lens. It's not a specialty lens. You're not going to get that crazy look up like you would with the 12 to 24 millimeter at 12 millimeters that pulls all of the buildings in and makes them look massive. You're not going to get that super compressed image like you would get from the 70 to 200 at 200 millimeters, but it allows you to still be able to capture a wide shot and capture a telephoto shot without changing a lens, and that in itself provides its own value. One of the other things I like about this camera is that it's a 77 millimeter filter thread, so for my NDs and for my polarizers I can use the same size that I use on my 85 millimeter 1.4 and the 70 to 200, so that's helpful. Alright, let's talk OSS, Optical Steadyshot. So with this lens, you can combine the optical steady shot of the lens with the IBIS system of your camera if you have it for supposedly extra smooth footage. I think Sony claims 5 stops saved for photos with the stabilization. I think that's maybe a little bit of a stretch. Here's an example of something I shot is somewhere between 1/5 and 1/15 of a second. But this was handheld with the 24-105. And you can see here like the sign, everything on the right, perfectly in focus. But you can see the train because I was able to slow down that shutter speed really slow. I'm able to get that motion blur effect. And that is where the optical steady shot, I think, comes in the most handy. When it comes to video, here's kind of a difference between video with it on and with it off. And you can tell there's a difference, but it's slight. We're not talking about like G5 stabilization here, where you can just run around with your camera handheld and it looks like it's on a gimbal. That's not the case with the Sony camera at all. You either need really steady hands or you need a gimbal still. Alright, so with all of those good features of this lens, there's gotta be a couple struggles that you overcome with it. And I think first and foremost, that's the f4 aperture. Now, I don't see that being an issue when it comes to me trying to achieve the depth of field that I'm looking for. It's a bigger issue for me when I'm going into the evening and going into low light situations. So while I like to run around with one lens, once it hits nighttime, it's really hard to do that with this one. You can do it, but you will notice you're gonna be bumping that ISO higher than you'd like to. So having a 2.8 lens really does make a difference in those situations. Other than that, you know, I can't really say I have any other complaints about this lens. I mean, it's amazing. I have the best lenses Sony makes to compare it to, and it's still my go-to a lot of the time. If I had to pick one of my lenses out of all of them to have and keep, it would actually be this one, just for the versatility, being able to kind of do a little bit of everything and do it all really well. I think that holds a lot of value. So hopefully if you're considering buying this lens, this has helped you make a decision and will provide you a little bit more insight on some of the pros and cons of the Sony G24-105 OSS. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you found this helpful. If you want, comment any questions or suggestions or insight you have down below. You can find me on Instagram also at Dan Colson. I guess that's it. So we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!